What do you absolutely hate hearing?
Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in the next 5 seconds, or a spider will be crawling around in your bed tonight. I'm seeing all these stupid little animations now that look like purchased assets people use for clicking the like and subscribe button and hitting the bell. They always have a stupid little ding on the bell. They're just as bad. I really hate calls to action in YouTube videos. I don't care how unobtrusive they are, they just feel insulting. I understand that they work, and that people make a living on their YouTube channels. Analytics are important. I'm not faulting anyone for that. Doesn't mean I don't find them annoying. As much as they are annoying, I've come to terms with them for the creators I want to succeed. Like it or not, they friggin' work. The people I follow, at least, have come out and said that they don't want to do this, but it is important for channel growth. Usually, I'm invested enough in the person that I'm okay with them doing what they have to for the numbers to go up, and if I'm not, well, I'm probably not finishing the video. Of all the evils that can be chosen for channel growth, I'm okay with this one. Could be worse. Sponsor block lets you, and others, flag those sections of video to be automatically skipped. There are some content creators out there that end up with as much as a third of their videos skipped after sponsors, intros, outros, calls to action, intermissions and all the other crap they load in. People asking for likes and subscribes doesn't bother me a lot for the time of I enjoy it. It actually does remind me to like and subscribe. It's their livelihood a lot of the time, and if I genuinely enjoy their content, it makes sense to like it and subscribe to it. I don't understand why people hate it so much. The fucking worst is when they show you their YouTube insights about how few of their viewers are subscribed and try to guilt you. Listen, I'm not an idiot. I know there is a subscribe button. If I liked you enough to press it, you wouldn't have to ask or tell me. I would just do it because I want to see more of your content. I haven't clicked it, and knowing any video is going to start out with a minute of begging rather than content is a surefire way to make me uninterested. Right, so do YouTubers just assume I have no idea how the site works? Like I just binged your videos and you say it in every one. Bro, I'll sub if I damn well feel like it, and I'm not pathetic enough to want to watch your video the second you drop it, so notifications are a joke. Ryakar did it in a way I respect. He straight said, hey guys, I usually don't do this, but I want to see if it makes a difference, but if you could subscribe if you aren't already and if you want to. I wonder if it will make a difference on numbers. Next video he showed the results and he did indeed have more subs than usual, so he's straight honest and says, just a reminder to sub if you went. I've noticed more people do if I say something about it. Instead of being like, smash that like and sub button, turn on notifications, like me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, MySpace, GeoCities, Yahoo, AIM, and suck my dick. My aunt's every Christmas telling me I should seek for a girl to marry and have kids. It's not that what angers me, it's the fact that when I tell them I don't want to have kids and I'm not sure about getting married, they immediately call me selfish and that I'm not supposed to live like that. WTF? It's my damn life, how am I not supposed to live it the way I want? I dropped out of school a year ago. Started a business where I make more than enough money doing what I love the most. More than enough equals not looking at prices in the grocery store type of enough, yet my parents are like, why don't you get a diploma? In this country you are worth nothing without it. You can do your business while studying. It's on la 5 years plus. Without a diploma your business will fail. I'd never say this to them, but people with a miserable life will always try to get you to do the same. Also applies for getting a girlfriend because they want to be grandparents at some point. Like, could you not treat me like a child and start valuing my decisions? Or at least accept them? Sound of Velcro. I had scoliosis as a kid, and had to wear a brace, and maybe my dislike of Velcro came from that. I also hate that without fail, when I admit this is one of my pet peeves, that someone decides to rip open Velcro to mess with me. Same with balloons. Why oh why are they a thing at kids' parties? Then, when I'm visibly in anguish at the sound, some bell-end adult thinks it's funny to repeat the experience. I think this should be a perfectly acceptable legal defense for a murder charge, after you've finally snapped and caved someone's head in with a claw hammer. You stand here accused of murder by bashing in the victim's cranium with repeated blows from a hammer. Do you have anything to say in your defense? Ah, yes, Your Honor. They rubbed a balloon a whole load after I told them how horrifyingly appalling I find the squeaking noise. Judge nods sagely. Case dismissed. You have it easy. Yes, I know there's starving kids in Africa. Yes, I know there's homeless people. That doesn't change anything. Don't invalidate other people just because they're not at the most extreme of suffering. Edit. Wow, this blew up. Thanks for the award, whoever gave it. Be yourself and love who you are, usually said by an extroverted, conventionally attractive person with lots of talents, successful career, and lots of relationships. What does being yourself even mean? I guess loving yourself is an important goal to strive for, but thinking you can just say that and be done with it is mega stupid. I think a lot of people are just content with negligence but still want to act as if they know what the fuck they are talking about. Mental health, relationships, especially those of opposite genders, sexualities, career advice. It makes no sense whatsoever to lie to make someone like you. Sooner or later they'll figure it out and won't like you anymore. It also doesn't make sense to change yourself in a way that you don't actually want to be. But if there's a change you want to make because you've identified something in your life that is getting in your way, then do it. Don't fake it for somebody else, and always be true to your own values. The specifics are variable. If absolutely nobody likes you right now and you can't identify anything in yourself that's holding you back that you already want to improve or change, that's a rare but unfortunate circumstance. Be yourself doesn't mean people have to like every version of you, or that you shouldn't do things other people find likable. It just means you should always be true to what really matters to you. If you can't be true to yourself, then you're not going to be able to maintain a relationship of any kind for very long. Sure, okay then, I will be a person who works part-time and sleeps a lot because I find that enjoyable. Also, I will eat food. You could be saving up so much money if you worked more. Wow, 12 hours of sleep. I am lucky if I get 6, but you still don't do anything at home after all that sleep. You should get out more, find some hobbies, go outside and exercise, join a gym, etc., says that person sometime later. I don't want money, I want sleep. I have always been a long and heavy sleeper, like at least 10 hours a night. If healthcare wasn't shit, I could see if I have some sort of condition, but I can't. Also, crippling social anxiety exhausts my brain to the point of needing more rest, I believe. And I have awesome dreams better than real life. I don't want to be around people, so I work part-time. I should be able to support my single self without having to work 40 hours a week. FYI, I generally work 30. Hearing, this is all a part of God's plan, while people rotate through a funeral for a deceased family member. Really? Was it really God's plan to make my grandfather have a tumor rupture in his lungs and make him sit through 3 days of pure hell before he passed? Just the thought of hearing that phrase uttered anywhere is enough to make my blood boil. Criticism is violent. It's not, but if the recipient is insecure, they feel attacked, dismiss the feedback, and fail to learn anything. Criticism exists to help you grow and strengthen you as a member of society. Strong reactions to criticism do have a tendency to be violent, however. *TLDR at bottom. If you are in a leadership position, I respectfully ask that you take the time to read everything. Thank you. Rejection-sensitive dysphoria is a diagnosable condition comorbid with ADHD, BPD, autism, and similar disorders and syndromes. People who might be able to mask most of the symptoms they struggle with may not be able to cope with RSD in general and may have some extreme reactions when confronted with criticism, particularly in a scenario where they may not have been expecting it. In this context, criticism can absolutely be violent. It may not be intended to cause harm, but the intent does not dictate the result. Many sufferers have trauma associated with RSD that negatively impacts their lives for years. How to tell if someone has RSD? You don't, unless they tell you. And sometimes they won't even know. It's not really acknowledged even when someone already has a diagnosis that is often related to it. People just assume the person is overly sensitive, immature, a prima donna, hormonal, such a drama queen, etc., ad nauseum. Samors. I have it. And ADHD. And their friendly cousin reward deficiency syndrome, which means the cascade of serotonin and dopamine the brain releases when a task is accomplished, isn't. I don't feel a sense of accomplishment or enjoyment when I get the degree or land the job or buy the car or clean the house. And when my work is criticized, it will definitely hurt for days. Critical remarks about something really important like career or parenting can leave me in a state of despondency for weeks. If you don't know someone really well, don't assume they can handle your critique. ADHD, BPD and autism aren't all that uncommon, and their comorbidities are easy to research. TLDR, extreme reactions to criticism can be an undiagnosed medical condition. Please be nice. Thank you for this added nuance. I agree that we should be sensitive toward other sensitivities, and unless we know someone quite intimately, we do not know their struggle. Just like, for example, how we should respect a person's pronouns or chosen name. Kindness is always appropriate. Since you have RSD, you seem like an excellent source, if you're up for it. If you exhibit a harmful behavior, and telling you about it is violent, what should I do? Such dysphoria traps those who love you because not telling you about the behavior is without a doubt violent. This is not intended as any sort of challenge but to help me gain greater understanding. Thank you. My ceiling fan has screws holding the little glass covers in place, and every once in a while they get loose and rattle a bit. Hearing that sound as soon as I've tucked into bed all warm and snug makes me irrationally angry. It's just loud enough to make it basically impossible to sleep without getting up and tightening the screws. My old TV sound system has a high-pitched noise it emits when it's receiving audio signal. Doesn't it if there's no sound coming through, however. My father can't hear it. It's a 8-year-old $300 soundbar, so a cheap replacement is out of the question. But so is fixing this one. Tried everything I can think of. It's not the speakers themselves, gently held each one with no impact to the noise, doesn't matter if it's via optical or HDMI. Bought a new TV thinking it would go away, wanted an upgrade anyways, and it persisted. Tried checking grounding wires, ECT. It's something to do with when it receives sound it adds this high-pitched whine in the hardware or something. Most of the parts are encased in epoxy so you can't even service it. After the holidays I got to track down a new sound system. Probably going for a 4.1 Samsung that will set me back about $300. Skeptical smiley face, all because I can hear a high-pitched noise that my father can't hear at all. Not an electrical engineer, but I have some thoughts. Interference from fluorescent lights or other sources? Try turning everything else in the room off and see if it makes a difference. Maybe some shielding would help. Is the sound coming through the speakers or from some other part of the unit? If it's the speakers, you might try putting a filter circuit just before the speakers to clip the super high frequency. Might have a negative impact on music though. You might post this issue in an audio subreddit and see what they suggest. Good luck. When a baby or a dog is referred to in months old and the number is above 11. For that matter, when they are referred to in weeks old and the number is above 3. Yes, I know the development changes week to week blah blah blah, but I am just asking for the age out of politeness, not what new features had recently manifested. The only people that care, need to know are the parents, grandparents and doctors. It's just your period, mostly cause it's a no-win argument. If you point out you're not on your period they say, well it's coming up then. If you point out it happened a week ago they say you're still emotional. 2 weeks ago you're back to it's coming up, or they just say you counted wrong. And that's ignoring the implication whatever I'm upset about is obviously not something to be upset about, which is gonna annoy me more no matter when my period is. Easy way to confirm. Guy does something small and has you react to it. Oh no, I left 7 and a 16th inch beard hairs in the sink despite cleaning up 521 others. Do you freak the fuck out, rush in the room and scream about sinks full of nasty ass hairs and ramble about selfishness and laziness with a beet red rage face? If not, you're probably not on your period and dude's just too stubborn to admit he's being a glands and earning your ire. I used play musical instruments and play sports. Nowadays, my goal is to become a film director and I'm currently a film major in college. Sometimes when my parents hearing a song with the instruments I used to play or see someone make an excellent play in a sport I used to play, they'll say, "That could have been you." Clearly they forget I know my purpose in life and I am well on my way to getting my dreams made real. Don't shame me for something I tried and didn't like. It's why I don't watch the Olympics anymore. Whenever diving was shown, everyone within 100 miles would say, "That could have been you. You could have gotten there. You used to be able to do that." Just fucking shut up. I know who I am and so do you. I have my life in my hands and I'm going places with it. Don't compare me to the young immature kid who tried different things and didn't like it. Just be happy I know what I'm doing and I love doing it. It really pisses me off when people do that. God never gives you more than you can handle. People said this to me as my husband was dying of cancer and I was only 31 and had no fucking clue how to keep working to pay the bills, navigate our U.S. terrible health insurance system without going bankrupt, apply for hospice, Social Security disability, Medicare and Medicaid before the hospital kicked him out for being not quite sick enough to die in a hospital, so I'd be stuck with a $7,000 per old folks home bill that my insurance wouldn't pay. They thought he was sick enough to die in a hospital. I nearly exploded. And then to have someone casually smile and say, "God never gives you more than you can handle. Go fuck yourself." People telling me I still have time to change my mind when they learn I've chosen not to be a mother. Non-diabetics telling me what I can't have to eat. Or giving advice about working out. Especially when that contradicts what my doctors, dietitians have told me or what I've learned by the mistakes I've made having to live with it. Children screaming, even squeals of laughter. Edit. 2B, or type 2 diabetics doing any of the aforementioned because they think they know anything about how to manage type 1. Accusations of racism, sexism being tossed around so frequently without any evidence. The term, white privilege, people blindly worshipping celebrities, athletes and celebrities, athletes constantly using their popularity to try to force their own opinions, views on everyone. The never-ending stimulus debates that have been ongoing for months that no one in DC can agree to because they all have egos that are too big and they refuse to come up with a compromise and thus the people that need the money get screwed. Whenever I hear anything about a second stimulus check I take it with a grain of salt because you can't count on any of them to get it done. Political opinions being forced into things where they don't belong at all, such as sports. I also hate when I hear people never taking responsibility for their actions and always blaming someone else for why they are what they are. The list goes on. Lol. Any debate about politicians. In the end, every politicians are the same regardless of how hard you try to defend them. 1. They in it for power and money. 2. They are all corrupt. 3. They act like they are your bosses when in fact they are nothing more but your servants. Civil servants. All politicians have to do some good cause. If they don't, then they'll lose their position quicker. None of them deserve to suck my dick. Conspiracy theories. I'm fucking sick and tired of them. It's frustrating to hear people connect things or make up crap simply because they're missing out in knowing a few small details. So tied up in their own beliefs they are that if you have the patience to explain the missing details to them, they'll simply deny it, come up with some further crap why it's not true and call you a gullible idiot. I have members in my own family like this and it has driven me well beyond the wall. Climate change is perfectly natural. Scientists just want more money, so they're fooling all of us with scare tactics. COVID-19 isn't a real problem and it's just used by the government to practice control over us. 5G is put in place as a form of advanced surveillance. Immigration is just nonsense. They are letting in loads of foreigners from more gullible countries to replace us. Scientists are suppressing true knowledge, such as advanced things from ancient civilizations, for their own gain. These things include skeletons of giants held in the Smithsonian Vault, maps of the advanced civilization that used to live on Antarctica, the true use of pyramids, the secret chamber under the Sphinx, ancient battery-powered contraptions, ancient nuclear power in India, etc. Chemtrails. Fucking chemtrails. I hate hearing the same arguments from long years ago that have long since been debunked or reasonably debated away. Or simple arguments from simple people that could be explained away with simple logic. Like when anti-maskers first started their arguing, they said things like how masks don't help because the virus is smaller than it filters, or how it makes it hard for people to breathe and is unhealthy and even deadly for you to wear masks for prolonged periods of time because of too much CO2, not enough oxygen. Those arguments have long since been crushed into oblivion by facts, science, and simple logical debating, and I still hear people make those same arguments to this day. What are you so sad about? Have you ever paid a bill? If you pay for anything, wouldn't it technically count as a bill? Death and taxes. I already know that. Brings me a lot more peace of mind than most of the things I hear about the world. Maybe I lost my job. Maybe I lost a loved one. Maybe I can't let go of my past mistakes and misfortunes. Maybe someone in my family abused me greatly. Maybe I got cancer. In a world full of suffering, how the hell could you not be sad 75% of the time? Robin Williams had quite a lot of money, and guess where he is now? May he rest in peace. Is paying a bill I have to pay for the rest of my life going to solve all the pain and stress not only I have to endure? Of course not. What a shitty thing to say. In short, there are plenty of things to be sad about in life, and they cost a lot more than whatever bill you need to pay. Sorry for the rant. My brother is a conservative and Trump supporter who dabbles in white nationalist beliefs. At any rate, from him, and all the other Trump supporters, I really hate hearing about the narrative that I have been fed, and the emotions that I have, and how I have been fooled with identity politics, and they are only interested in facts. Then I have to listen to how they are part of the group who identifies as real American patriots, who are part of this fight to save America, and who feel like Trump won the election, and don't believe that the recounts show over and over that the fact is he lost and Trump's own team can't come up with any real evidence. So who has had their head spun around by identity politics, been told a narrative, and operating on their feelings over facts? And to top it all off, now they want a bigger slice of government money and they think it's their idea. There is a word for what they are asking for when they want a bigger payment from the government. Socialism. Chewing sounds. This can make me not talk to someone for a while because part of me goes, listen to this bastard going to town on that food, and wants to become physically aggressive, and the reasonable part of me just goes, relax FFS, they're just eating. It's normal, and this back and forth goes on in my head for longer than I care to admit. I even hate my own mouth sounds to the point where I have to zone out to eat if nothing is playing in the background to distract me. Also, the sound of mac and cheese, which is sad because I love mac and cheese. My roommate has been a heavy smoker for decades now. Her smoker's cough is the grossest thing I ever heard in my life. It's just hacking up a bunch of wit and has put me on edge this entire year with COVID. I'm sure it's because of the smoking that whenever she swallows anything to drink, she has to take a huge loud gulp. It sounds like a cartoon swallowing something too big to eat. It's so gross. And then she has the nerve to get mad at me for saying anything about it. Rich people are receiving more protections, hide money they will never use, and refusing to maximally contribute to the society and system that has afforded them more than they will ever need, while so many people are starving to death and others are unable to afford life-saving medicine. Like it or not, at some point you are a fucking hoarder as bad as anyone struggling in a house full of old newspapers. Maybe worse because you are tallying marks on paper instead of helping so many people. Get help for your addiction. Are you better yet? You always seem to be sick. Can't you just try? Yep, sure, I'll try a day out ice skating. Let me just drug myself up with painkillers that constipate me, but I'm already constipated from the IBD, so I guess that's fine. My colon will just have to rupture. And then I'll faint for a bit on the ice when my heart rate drops considerably after standing too long with pots, and it'll be a nice rest when I'm fatigued. Oh, and don't worry about me eating. I'm sure the fast food you guys want to grab won't cause agonizing abdominal spasms for 3 days that will leave me unable to sleep and crying. No, I'm not fucking better yet. And no, FODMAP didn't help. When people say stuff like, they didn't let their disability, illness stop them. As if completely refusing to acknowledge that depending on the condition, some tasks can literally be impossible. I wish people would celebrate the ingenuity and determination of people and commending how we as humans can discover, invent ways to compensate for a problem more and admire the trials and tribulations people have to go through to achieve their goals, instead of shaming the people who can't for reasons beyond their control. It's common sense, when failing to explain something completely, or they've got no common sense, when someone doesn't understand or makes a mistake. Common sense is a bullshit stand-in for a good and thorough explanation that people overuse. There is no universal shared experience, and lots of things are trickier than the average person thinks, and who most likely just forgets that they also had to learn and gain experience before they were good at anything.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video. And if you are new, subscribe and click on the bell icon.